I'm going to watch Hollow MV. So I've already heard that a lot of theories and stuff, so I'm ready to see this. I've also already heard the song because I listened to the Japanese concert. Okay, hold on. 僕のバケットリストにはたくさんのチェックがなぜか満足できない僕は誰か思い満たして乾き Hold on. It's not translating. It's fine. I can't take it no more 全て抱きしめ走っても Why do I feel hollow どんな場所にいても孤独になるわ愛が必要なのか一人でいるほど無理やり満たしても I'm so hollow 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 oh na 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 na最近の気分はシャープよりフラッグこだわり気づいたキャリアのステックホロフェインまだ先遠くてシャニスターその裏はオールインブラックプラスよりマイナスに向く目が無駄繰り返していないか気が抜けたようで全てが辛くて誰か思い満たして乾き癒して繰り返す答えもなくどんな言葉も足りない棒かお願いも I can't take it no more 全て抱きしめ走っても Why do I feel hollow どんな場所にいても孤独になる I'm alone 愛が必要なのか一人でいるほど無理やり満たしても I'm so Oh, wait. Okay. I was reading theories online, and so now I'm like, 雲の中のモナ光ない夜名前もない心空をさまよう全て抱きしめ走っても Why do I feel hollow どんな場所にいても孤独になる愛が必要なのか一人でいるほど無理やり満たしても I'm so hollow 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 oh na 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 Wait, did Ian just get smushed? He did.
Okay, so I want to talk about this really quick. I love the honestly, I love the Stray Kids. Like, make so many songs. They can have so many interpretations. Like their videos and everything. Have so many interpretations, and I love that there's so many like theories. Um, so I've been reading like even before I watched this video. I've been reading a lot of different theories. Um, so obviously, like if you notice, there's the light, like that they're all like chasing basically, um, and you know you see from the beginning how each of them was like given this light, um, you know that hangs around their neck, and I think it's more of like this like because what you see in the video is they're chasing a light that's a lot like the one that's on their neck, right? And I think that's like almost like validation, like from the world and from, you know, this industry they're in. And chasing like the fame and like chasing like things they desire, right? And um and when like somebody I read somebody say that basically like the light that's inside of them is almost like more like the light we need. Um and when you see Mino rips the light out of Han, it's like from him physically, and that's when like you know Han is on the floor afterwards. And a lot of people have been talking about how like they feel like that represents a lot of when Han was dealing with like a lot and almost like he lost his light. If that makes sense. Um, and I don't know that Lino is necessarily like a direct representation of Lino taking the light from Han. I think it's more of the fact of like it's like a representation of like how people in the world and people even people you know can like take that light from you. Um not to say that like anybody took the light from Han, but I also think it represents like I think it just also represents like showing that he had no light left in him. But I think somebody else said this, and I kind of agree, is like the fact of how when Lino takes it, it's almost like a representation of the fact that like even people you trust and even people you can get close to will take this inner light from you just so they can feel good. And because like if you notice, Lino like doesn't like he doesn't pay attention to Han's light being taken out. He's just like whatever, like um and the other thing I noticed is like Felix is the only one at the end, and even throughout, he's not necessarily chasing the orbs. Like there's a scene where like Felix is like trying to find like his way of finding happiness is he's looking at his like he's looking at a family and he's looking at like he's watching the other people watching the others and he's like comforting them and he's the only one that picks up the not glowing orbs at the end and finds a brighter light in them. And honestly, I actually think the light that he finds at the end, um, which are not glowing. Because if you notice, like, they start to light up whenever he's holding them. And I think they represent stay. And I think they also represent, like, him, like, giving, like, he has light inside of him still, and he's finding it. And he's showing that you can find, light within yourself, basically. And they don't light up until they're put in the light. So only once Stay sees like Stray Kids, do they see light. But I don't know, there's a lot of theories. Like, yeah, somebody said that there were 7 orbs, and they represent, like, Felix being, like, the last member that completed SKZ. But I don't know. I think maybe the orbs at the end are specifically, like, supposed to be, like, Stay, or supposed to be specifically, like, finding that light. And only once, like, I don't know. I feel like there's so many different, like, theories with this, to be honest. Also, another theory that people were talking about, and I didn't think about it until it was pointed out, but okay, so you notice that they're all wearing, like, flowers, and, you know, there's, like, the vines and the flowers and Ian even has, like, a moment where he's, like, coughing up blood, and hold on. So there's, like, a whole moment like this. I mean, well, this is a whole other thing that we gotta talk about. But if you notice, like, they're all wearing flowers, and Ian is even, like, coughing up blood, and, like, if you notice, he's even, like, coughing up blood, and which is called in anime Hanahaki disease. And so if you know anything about Hanahaki disease, so the flowers on their suit wilt, like, as the music video continues. The sickness becomes unavoidable. So like, I'm trying to find it, but basically, like, there's, like, a whole thing about it's Hanahaki disease, and they all, like, cough up, and, like, yeah, but basically Hanahaki disease is a fictional thing, and it represents unrequited love, or being basically unfulfilled in love. And I think a lot of that represents, like, here's my theory, is my theory was the fact that I think it can be a range of things. Like, okay, so first of all, it's, like, about it's just finding a place in the world where their love fits specifically. And I don't think they fully found it. I don't, and, like, that's why they feel hollow. This is what I said. I said that I think the unrequited love can be a lot of things. I think that they have a lot of love to give, and they want to just be able to give it wherever they can. And they want to spread it throughout the world. and give love where they can. And I'm gonna say this: if we're focusing like on like Chan specifically, Chan, if you're watching this, I'm analyzing you, okay, for a second. He has a lot of love to give, and he wants to be able to give it where and when he can. He wants to give it to stay. He wants stays everywhere around the world to know that he loves us, and he wants us to know that Stray Kids loves us. I think he truly loves Stay so much, and I think they all do. Besides Stray Kids, like, we are his dream. We're Stray Kids' dream. And they just want to chase that dream, you know? And I think what's like really upsetting, and I think what really fits this, again, this is just a theory, so I think it really hurts him when he gives so much love to us and people throw it in his face. And I think that applies to all of them. Specifically Chan, people question a lot of his moves and what he does, and whether or not he's genuine, and whether or not he's putting on a front, and I think that might represent this as like, because all he wants to do is pursue his dream with Stray Kids, and he just wants to love Stay. He wants to show us how much they care about us, and I think this like applies to all of Stray Kids. I think all 8 of them are very realistic about the love between them and Stay, but I don't think it's any less hurtful when they do give us so much love, and to have people like in the industry, specifically like people in the industry, like Stays, all around the world, genuinely, like, people do throw stuff in their face constantly. Again, take this with a grain of salt, because I could be taking crap out of nowhere, honestly. And I do think it applies to like personal life too, the unrequited love thing. I think because of the industry they're in, there is, I don't know how to say it, it's almost like taboo to have a personal relationship outside of your career. And maybe I shouldn't say it like that. It's more like the fact that because of their career, because of what they're doing, they have to be so heavily focused on it. And I think they realize, again, I could be making stuff up, and none of this could be true. So please take any theories I say with a grain of salt. I think because this industry pushes so much on to them to make sure that they're getting bigger and bigger, and I think a lot of Hollow represents like them like putting the pressure on themselves to try and chase this dream and stuff, and but it's like a combination of things. And I think because it's so heavily geared towards making sure you reach like the top, and you go for the top, and you make sure like you are only focused on that, you don't really have time for anything else. And I think like realistically and emotionally, it's like really hard to have anything personal for yourself in it, I think. And I think they I think they're honestly, I think that they are pointing out harsh realities of being a K-pop artist. Because like I've read this before and I've talked to some people. A lot of like most of the time, a lot of these artists don't have a lot of stuff personal to them. Like older groups didn't have anything like more personal for them until they were older. And that's not to say that like it's not okay to pursue your dreams and stuff. And cuz I think really Stray Kids is doing an amazing job. And I think this is probably the best time for them to do this. I don't know. I just think with the industry, it's like the pressures of it all are so much, and personal relationships are really hard to have in this industry, and they can't give what they want right now until they truly reach where they want to in their career. And I think it's like just like a really harsh reality about like the industry specifically. And I think it also just applies to feeling like the only place they can give their love is like obviously they have their family, which is like I feel like a given, right? But otherwise I feel like besides like that familial type of love and even the love they have for all 80 of each other, I feel like the main love that they can give besides those is to stay. And I feel like the whole unrequited love thing is because it's almost like this, like, I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like this love that's not fully fulfilled as much. Like, it's fulfilled in the way that they probably feel fulfilled getting to see Stay, getting to do these concerts because that's what they love to do, right? But at the same time, I almost wonder if again, please, like, if you have other theories, please let me know, because I'm just like rambling. And honestly, this whole unrequited Hanahaki disease thing could be bullcrap and could not even be true, and I'm just saying crap right now. But I think it's hard because I think with the whole like stay love and stuff like that is like they know that there are people out there that are part of stay per se that aren't there to give them love that the more genuine stay are going to give them. And I think a lot of this has to do with that and the like feeling of unrequited love they have from these people that are supposed to be fans that are just tearing them down left and right. Anyways, enough about that. So like, okay, so I want to talk about this. So you see, there's a part, let's see. So they're chasing the light like through the whole thing. And again, I think it could be like a more artificial light that the world gives us, that we're always chasing, and we're never like looking inside of ourselves and just chasing like this fake thing that we think will make us feel fulfilled. And I think you see that because like also like another thing is like they, you know, they get these necklaces, they have these awards, they show like these scenes that kind of represent like when they first started and got their first award. And I think they've been trying to almost like recreate that high that they got from that. Okay, I shouldn't say it like that. They're not trying to recreate it. It's more of the fact that ever since feeling that one bit of like joy that they got from awards and other people making them feel, how do I say it, achieved or fulfilled. Now I think that's what like Hollow is about, is like this feeling of like I can only feel whole if, you know, I'm chasing this and that and I'm getting awards and I'm in the spotlight and there's like this whole part where they're in the street and they are like, so yeah, you see like them get their awards. Ooh. I think so if you realize too, they had puppet strings on them too at the beginning, and I think that represents like being controlled by the system basically in the industry and being told to do this and that and like, hey, you lift your arm now, and yeah. And I think they disappeared once they got there, because I think it represents like them getting bigger almost and like this new contract. I think that represents the new contract, I'll be honest. And now they're like just trying to chase like this light. Where is it? So also, if you look at this, so if you look, if you look, everybody else is looking where to go. What do I do? And Changbin's just standing here with his button. I think a lot of it has to do with like them trying to reach this goal. And they've said it before where they don't feel like for them it's just another, like it just keeps building. They have another step, they have another goal, they have another, and for them it's never just one set goal. Oh, we've made it. No, they want the next thing. And I think I don't know that they're necessarily like, it's like, they're not necessarily like saying that they're like hollow. I think they're trying to say that like that this industry and like chasing this dream and chasing this goal probably makes you feel hollow at points, because at points I imagine like it feels very like hollow to only want specific things, or and I think I love that they made a song about this, to be honest, because like it shows that they're not fully like controlled by this, and they're not fully controlled by this need to be in, you know, for this need to be just, you know, famous, and the only thing that they really like care about focusing on is like their music and putting out albums and loving Stay. But I think it shows like a lot of growth and a lot of, I think it's really good that they made a song like this and show the more real side of K-pop and the more real side of like being a K-pop star. And then yeah, it says that Felix said that only focusing on the negative instead of the positive, and I think that's a lot of because of like, again, people make them focus on like the crappy things and show them their bad sides and all that kind of stuff. And I think a lot of too is like with them showing like these scenes of them as like kids, and a lot of that represents like maybe what they missed out on, or maybe what they wish they could have. I don't know. Well, and if you look at like these little crystals, because they're not light, they aren't light, they don't have lights in them, right? If you look at them, they're fake, right? They're artificial, and it's just like this fake happiness trying to fulfill them, and they think it's going to fulfill them, but it's not, because it's fake. It's these fake diamonds, which is almost like a representation of like money and fame and being rich and stuff like that. Okay, and so if you look at this scene specifically, so they're trying to find this light. Like, all of them are trying to find light that's not there. They're just playing with these crystals or orbs. And I think Chan's mentioned this before too, about like feeling like almost, I think he's mentioned this before about like how he didn't want to get stuck in this mindset of being obsessed with the more, how do I say it, like the more empty side of being famous and being a K-pop idol and being a K-pop star. And I think he's over here like smiling, and he's like, but I will say somebody else said this too, is people deal with the feeling of being hollow in different ways. And I think a lot of that is, I think, Chan specifically, somebody said this, but Chan specifically is just smiling and ignoring it and just putting on a face, basically. But I also think it does to represent, like, I think a lot of this video represents, like, the dark sides of being famous, too. So I think Chan rolling around in it is just representing, like, I don't know how to say it, like, just, like, living in it, living in the luxury, basically. But, I mean, they're all kind of doing that, too. And if you notice, I think somebody said this, too, but Felix is the only one who is not, like, living in it. He's the only one not caring. Like, he has a bunch of orbs around him, and all he's caring about is, like, the family in the window and finding, like, the light and stuff like that. And I think that also connects to the end of where he's, like, kind of showing what, like, really brings light to your life and light to their lives. And I think I don't know, I think it's a really good representation of showing that, like, I think that Felix is trying to show that there is, like, this is how you find, like, true light in your life and stuff like that, and being a K-pop artist, and then again in this video, in this part, Han, you know, drops, and because his, like, actual inner physical light that's a part of him was taken away. And I do think that represents, like, when he had his, like, mental, like, anxiety stuff happen and he wasn't doing well. I think it really shows, like, what this industry does to you. What it can do to you and how it can break you. Especially if you are somebody that does have anxiety and somebody that has things that they deal with regularly and you don't know how to deal with it properly, and, like, this industry can really, like, it can really break you. And I think this specific scene represents, like, when Han had his really rough time. And if you see, the light literally disappears. If you notice too, if you're looking, there's light nowhere else in this video, in this part of the scene, except for right here in the scene that Felix is watching, where it is somebody with their family having, you know, a good time, and they're, you know, living with their family and finding the joy and light in their family and in their life. And then the other light is Han. There is no other light in this video, right? There's no light coming from where they're picking up the orbs. There's no light from this lamp that Hanjin is looking at. And there's not even light in the one that Lena took out of Han's chest. I don't know if you realize that, but once he took it out, there's no light left. Because the light that they are craving, that they're chasing, is not from the world. It's not from these materialistic things. It's not from fame. It's not from trying to please everybody else. It's not trying to please this industry and it's not even trying to please, like, fans and stuff. It is literally about yourself and having that light within you and finding that light where you truly need to find it. And it disappears once Han is gone. And so, okay, let me analyze this. Icarus. right? That's what everybody thinks about the Sinich. I feel like it's a very accurate representation. I truly think this represents like them, or even just him, trying to reach too far, and trying to, because that's what all Icarus was all about. He thought he could have everything, and he went too far, and that's the thing that's happening here. Is he's trying to reach the sun, but if you notice, story of Icarus dies because he couldn't reach the sun because it was impossible. And but I also think, okay, so if you notice that when Hanjin falls, Sungmin falls, and so does Ayan, and there's no more light left in this, ball, this orb that they have on their chest. And again, I think this all ties back to when they got that orb. Was that I think it truly represents like the light that they were either given at the very beginning, where they got their awards and they felt like fulfilled in a way, but it's like faded over time because they're just chasing. And I also think it probably represents like their heart too, a little bit, because I don't think those orbs are going to be filled with light unless they are finding light the way they need to, or even finding this like happiness from things, but instead they're chasing the light and happiness from not what they're supposed to be. They're chasing it through fame and trying to find, like putting yourself in the spotlight. But I think what really represents something is Hanjin falling, and then it being Sungmin, and then Ayan. I think it represents them as a group, that if one of them tries to reach too far for the sun and tries to put themselves too far into the spotlight, they all suffer basically, because they're a group. And I think that's why all of them have, that's why those three specifically, like not those three specifically, but that's why it showed them, and I think it's represented through the fact that, like, generally, I think if one of them tries to reach too far, they all suffer basically. So yeah, and then the Hanahaki disease happens again, where he's trying to reach for that, but he's coughing up blood. And then we don't talk about this part because I was like, what? I don't know if you guys noticed this, but yeah, it falls on him. But yeah, again, shows them all running back towards the light. which is probably like a light. If it's a stage, right? This is their stage. And they're chasing that light from everything else. But again, Felix is at the end. He finds these orbs. They have no light in them, just like every other time that they were chasing light. And they only ended up having light in them when he shows it true light, basically. And I think it represents stay. I think it represents stay, and I think it represents like true light and finding that true light and true love and joy and happiness from things that really matter. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe all of this is really out there and all of it could be wrong. I don't know, but that's just how I saw it, and I really want to know like what it represents, but I do think a lot of it has to do with like almost to like shining a light in what is going, like what the industry really is like and how they feel and stuff like that about it. So I don't know.